Hello, welcome back to the series, Stop People Pleasing Tendencies. And so in the last two videos, we dived a little bit deeper as to how people pleasing tendency comes about and how we can look at our ways of thinking in order to pull ourselves away from our parents' thoughts, thought model, and our own thought model. So today we're going to go into the actual taking care of our emotions because whatever we do, we care a lot. We care a lot about whether other people love us, whether other people care about us. We care a lot about what other people think about us. So a lot of times we may feel guilty, shame, we may feel upset about how other people react to us, and we don't want to feel any of those feelings. And then that's why we change ourselves to make other people love us back. But in order to stand up for our own voice, we have to understand that other people are going to have their feelings and we're going to have ours. So today we're going to learn how to take care of our own emotional well being so that we can stand up for us no matter what other people say or do. In the last video, we used the following example to illustrate the point. We're not able to spend time with our mom for the holiday. So that's the circumstance of the events. And so, because our mom thinks that she's not important enough, so then she starts yelling because she feels hurt. And so it makes us feel guilty because the thought is, I'm not a good daughter. I don't care about my mom. I'm very selfish. So all of these thoughts are making me feel guilty. Now, it's not because she's yelling at us that is making us feel guilty. It's all these thoughts of I'm not a good daughter. I don't care about my mom. I'm selfish. And so, in order to take care of our own emotional well being, we have to go deep to hold space for this guilt that we're feeling. So, how do we go about doing that? Imagine, okay, right now I'm feeling guilty because of I'm not a good daughter. I'm selfish. So if you're to feel guilty, where does it show up in your body? So we're just going to breathe in and out. If I'm going to feel guilty, where does it show up? Guilty for me happens in the chest. It's a very heavy weight. So you may want to ask yourself, where in your body does it show up? If you're to describe it in words, how does that feel like? Is it big or small? For me, it's quite big. Is there a weight to it? It's very heavy for me. Does it move? Does it go from one side of the body to another? Guilt for me, it doesn't feel like that. Is there a color to it? What is your color? It just feels like a dark, heavy weight sitting in my chest. What about you? And is there a temperature? Does it feel hot? Does it feel cold? It just feels really cold. And so once you feel that, I just want to invite you to take a deep breath in into that part of your body and keep breathing in and out. Right now, we're just holding space for this feeling. And it's also a way for us to get to know ourselves because most of the time we're so in our heads that we actually never got to know who we are. Every time guilt shows up, it's going to show up feeling the same way. So by doing this, we're getting to know who we are. We're getting to know, hey, I see you. I'm feeling very guilty right now, and this is how it feels like. And just sit and breathe. And if you feel that it's a little bit shifting, or maybe it won't, I just want you to invite you to play with me for the next step. If possible, are you able to bring this feeling outside of your body? See if you can bring it outside of your body and you're looking at it from the outside. What do you think needs to happen in order for it to change? So for me, guilt feels a lot like it's like a heavy stone and there's like a hammer just hammering it. If you're to describe how it feels like as a cartoon, how does it feel like? And what needs to happen for it to change? So for me, when I see that guilt in front of me being a stone and a hammer is hammering it, I just want the hammer to change shape into a feather. And I want that stone to melt like ice into a puddle and it flows away. What about you? How does yours look like? And what needs to happen for it to change? See that for yourself and see if you can make it change. And if you don't see anything, it's okay. And just be with it. Yeah, because sometimes we carry so much guilt that we just want to acknowledge it. If it doesn't change, I would like to invite you to just put your hand out in front of you, place your hand onto that object, onto that feeling, and let's just sit with it and breathe. Breathe into that space. And this is how we process our feelings. Be willing to sit with it because it is these feelings and thoughts that make us who we are. And these feelings are created by our thoughts. And sometimes, most of the times, these thoughts are not true, but because we've been practicing thinking about these thoughts so much that we feel that it's true. I remember that for me, there was one time I just felt so incapable. I felt so ashamed of myself that I started crying. And I started crying and I didn't want to be there because that feeling is so uncomfortable. And the coach I was with at that moment, he just said, just sit here, just sit here. What's coming up? And I just thought that I am so incapable. By me processing this, it means that the thought is true. And he said, no, it's just a feeling. That thought is not true, but it's just right now the thought seems so true that you're having this reaction. And so I allowed myself to sit and I cried for a good 20 minutes. There are some of these thoughts that is so painful for us when our parents yell at us because they believe that we're not good enough. We put a lot of pressure on us to perform well. And then when we speak up to them, speaking of our voice, they sometimes make us feel like we don't love them. We are too selfish. And all of these are so painful. And then sometimes they would demand us to do things that we don't want to. And then we get so angry. And all of these feelings are part of our reality. And we want to embrace these feelings, to process them, to sit with them, to witness them. Then we can let our body shed these feelings so that we can empty it out and then we can create new thoughts and new feelings within our body. But only until we have sit with them, process them, and purge them. Once we have processed our emotions, once we allow ourselves to have our emotions, then we can actually allow other people to have their emotions. Because as I was saying, because we don't allow ourselves to have our emotions, we want other people to change in order to make us feel better. But once we allow ourselves to have our emotions, then we know that other people cannot change us and we cannot change them. So we're also allowing them to have their emotions so that they can deal with whatever that is needed on their own terms. Other people are going to do things that are going to upset them, and there's nothing that we can do about it. And so that's why processing our emotions is so important. If you would like help to deal with these deeper emotions, I do have a free video resource what you can sign up for. It's called Flip the Table. These are for when you're in a situation where you feel like you've done so much and you have done more than enough, and other people, maybe your boss, maybe your mom, are still demanding more of you, and we're at a place where we're so fed up. We're going to process that anger, process that resentment. So I have a free resource for you so you can process that along with me. And if you still feel like you need more help to process your feeling, you can always reach out to me. I can walk alongside you to do this with you. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one.